Tischendorf discovered Sinaiticus olive in a wastebasket. Now let me just tell you, I can almost prove it, but I can't totally prove it beyond any doubt. I think the Catholics, he found in the wastebasket at the foot of Mount Sinai, it's a Sinai monastery, he found a big wad of paper that they were going to burn, they said, in a wastebasket. And it was New Testament, Sinaiticus. And he talked them into letting him have it. Oh, I've got the original. It made him famous. He was an honest reporter. He observed Sinaiticus had a different handwriting and ink on the sheet that had Mark 16. Now let me explain Sinaiticus to you. It's a great big leather, and inside it are folios folded like this, and they are not bound. You can pull that one out and write a different one and stick it in. Oh, there's a different handwriting and different ink. There is Constantine von Tischendorf. Ta-da! Further, there's a change in spacing and size of the individual letters in an attempt to fill up the void left by the removal of the verses. See, Vaticanus has it blank, but Sinaiticus has just a few words over there. How did they do it? There's a change in spacing and size of the letters so that from this column a few words would come over and not leave a completely blank column. Oh, this is beginning to get interesting. The sheet's a forgery. Someone slipped it out, wrote it in. I'm going to tell you who did it. Here's what Sinaiticus looks like. It has 4 columns. On the page before this, which I have, there's 14 letters per line, average. Okay? Notice this column only has 11.6. When we've been going page after page after page, all of them, 759 of them, about 14 letters a line. And suddenly, 11.6, and a little bit over here so that that column is not completely blank. There's a reason for this. The scribe that left the column blank in Vaticanus, this is 20 years later. He makes his living on people hiring him because he's a good scribe. Don't you think he hasn't had to answer over and over to people about why'd you leave that column blank? No other column in that whole Bible is blank. And he's tired of it, tired of having to answer for it. And so he didn't leave it blank. This column has 14.1 letters a line, and this column has 13.9, again averaging 14 letters a line. Question: why is the other column 11.6 and then 10.7? To get some text over in the column he was going to leave blank. Scribe D. Okay, remember I told you I was going to tell you who? These things, when we read the history of it, the scribes quite often are not named. David, you brought me one with the guy's name. They're just usually called Scribe A, Scribe B, Scribe C, Scribe D. Okay? Scribe D wrote only 6 leaves. That's the whole folio. Okay? In the New Testament. and a small part of another, according to Tischendorf. And he did know this stuff. Says he wrote part of the Old Testament and was the corrector of the New Testament. Whoa! According to Constantine von Tischendorf, Scribe D also wrote Vaticanus B. Whoa, whoa! What did you just say? The scribe that wrote Vaticanus B also wrote Mark 16 in Sinaiticus. Why is that important? We'll explain. For the last 150 years, the church has been told that Aleph and B were two independent witnesses. The oldest, the best, the two oldest, the two best, most reliable manuscripts read so-and-so. Now we learn that they were written by the same guy and that he's responsible for the omission in both codices. There are not two different authorities. It's one man is responsible. Have you got it? And all the seminaries have bought it, and despite the fact that Dr. Peter Carster Theedy showed them in with the confocal microscope that they were wrong, despite he showed them that the Codex was older than they said, they won't give it up. Tischendorf wrote this years and years ago in the 1800s. They know he said this. We are being deceived by men who themselves, listen to me, almost all the text critics do not know what I've just shown you. They were deceived as teenagers, early 20s. Their minds are made up. Do not confuse them with data. Now, here it is. This is Sinaiticus Aleph. There's the first page. Now we're going to flip and see what the bottom page looks like. Watch this. It ends there. Over here there's 48 lines per column, 14 letters per line in the first three columns. But the fourth column only has 12 letters a line, so we've got some text to roll over to the next page. As I've told you, the first column, okay, remember, verso, recto, front side, back side, reverse, okay? Only 11.6 a line, 10.7 a line in that little short column, then 14.1, 13.9. All right? There is no evidence whatsoever that Mark 16, 9 through 20 were omitted until the 4th century. I'm telling you things that your preacher doesn't know. Very few of your seminary professors know. I paid a terrible price to get all this. You have no idea how much digging. Old books that are 600, 700, 800, 1200, 1400 years old, 1700 years old that I've had to dig and find. It's a historical fact that by the 4th century, lessons from the New Testament were publicly read in the Greek assemblies according to a definite scheme.